Hi, this is Mike Minix. I just want to discuss a few issues. I just watched a video with Alex Jones, and it had Roddy Piper on there before he died, before he passed away. And it was discussing the movie he made, They Live. And the question was, who are they? Well, to me, they are the Illuminati. They are the Jesuits. They are Freemasons. They are Skull and Bones. They are secret societies that are coming into full fruition for people to see. They're all the presidents from these secret societies that they controlled and put in their puppets in office and everything. They're after a one world order, a one world agenda, and a one world false religion where they can control everybody. They're going to come out with the mark of the beast, which is already being implemented right now. It's probably close to being completed, and they'll introduce that to where when the financial system collapses, that you won't be able to buy, sell, trade, or do anything. It's all prophesied in the Bible. Well, if you take that mark, you've sold your soul to Satan, and because that's what these people are, they're Luciferianisms, and their God is the God of this world, the prince of the air, the prince of the world down here, Satan, Lucifer himself, the devil, the fallen angel. It took a third of the angels with him. That's their God, and from the Garden of Eden, they believe he was the illuminated one, and that he saw the light, and he was the truth, and he told Eve to eat the apple, and that they would become gods, and that's what God didn't want them to be because they could become bigger than God and all this. Well, if you look at it, these people are just like their false god. They're evil. They're debauchery. They have ritual sacrifices. Um, they anything for power and money and greed. And they're some of the richest, most elite people in the world, and they come out of these secret societies and are indoctrinated until they reach the 33rd degree masonry point. And so their agenda is to put everything in a one world order and to control the masses and make everybody slaves, and they can sit back and they think they somehow they the government and everybody, the Illuminati and the evil agenda is always 10 years ahead from what they let the public know. So they have technology that's pretty far advanced right now that we don't even know about. Well, part of their big deception is going to be they got a collider in CERN, Switzerland, um, that the company 666, the same one that created the World Wide Web, and that it's a hadron collider. Well, anyway, it's going to open up portals and gates, and what it's going to do is it's going to release demons to come through these black holes and everything. This antimatter, and they're going to be up on the Earth, which I think they're already up on the Earth. I mean, we got a lot of demon activity, and I'm telling how what they've done to bring those through, and what they've used, and what kind of bodies. I mean, some people even claim that there's reptilian beings, which I wouldn't be surprised. And the Nephilim, which was back in the days of Noah, and he said it'd be just like in the days of Noah. Well, the Nephilim were the giants that, when the demons came down and had sex with the women. Well, they believe that they've advanced and they're no longer giants, and they can fit in and be disguised as regular people. They're in political office right now, and there's a lot of control underneath. Well, the Pope has come out here recently because the Vatican, they have a big uh, telescope bigger than the Hubble on a mountain that they are looking for things, and they even call the infrared part of the scope Lucifer, and so they're looking for things and everything. Well, the Pope's even come out recently and said that if there were aliens, he'd baptize them. And there's a lot of big things coming out of the Vatican that are saying that they believe they've encountered aliens and come across them, and there's belief that they're in contact with them. Well, uh, actually, these are demons, okay? So don't let them fool you, because that'll be the big deception right there. They're going to introduce, and they're going to have a lot of technology to show signs and wonders, big deceptions. They could probably do a light show in the sky right now with some of their technology to make you almost guarantee there's UFOs and some kind of unidentified flying object, and you'd swear it was like a flying saucer, and you'd seen demons and all this, or excuse me, you'd seen, like, you believe that there's really aliens because of what you've seen and all this. Well, this is just a depiction to deceive people, to get them to believe, and that's what Lucifer's trying to do. He wants people to worship him as God, and he's going to be a one world ruler, and that's how he's going to do it, through that major deception right there. Well, us as Christians, us as believers, and us being able to see the demonic side of things and the false religions and the Illuminati and their evil agendas and the New World Order and all this stuff. We need to take a stand and wake people up. I think, to me, that's our biggest task at hand, is especially for your loved ones, anybody you come in contact with, share the gospel about Jesus Christ and how he saved your soul, and when you repented and you seek God, and how it's all through grace through salvation. But when you have grace through salvation and you have the Holy Spirit that comes upon you, it makes you want to serve God, and love your brother as thyself. And that's where the power comes from. The power comes from the prayer, the belief. If you had faith of a mustard seed, you could move a mountain. Well, the same time, the gray is being wiped out now. The dark is getting darker, and evil is getting evil as can be, like back in the days of Noah. While the light's getting lighter and the light's seeing more, so the light's going to have to, like you said, let the salt not lose its savor, like shine light. And a candle can't be hid. A candle that sits on a hill can't be hid. We've got to come out. We've got to shine a light. We've got to stand up for God. We've got to scream out. We've got to sound the trumpets. We've got to wake up our loved ones. We've got to wake up as many people as we can. The fight with this world's over. This world is, like I said, I don't think you should waste your time trying to go up against the governments, trying to stop things and legislation and bills and getting caught up in all this nonsense, because it's biblically it's prophesied. They want Satan. The world does. God's going to allow them to have Satan. It was all prophesied. So through their CERN, through their demonic activity, they'll have Lucifer here on earth, and he'll be the one world ruler eventually with the Antichrist, and he'll enter into the Antichrist and fully rule the world for a short period of time. It said 42 months, and 7 years is the tribulation, which I believe we're about to head into. Now the rapture, I've always believed there was a rapture. I've come in contact with people that believe that Christians will go through the tribulation, and it's a hard subject, but I think you should prepare either way. Pray that we get out of here as Christians. Pray that God takes us through a rapture, but if not, prepare to die, because that's, if you're going to shine your light, you're going to be an example. Eventually, God's going to protect you so you can get the word out, but eventually you're going to have to take a stand, and your testimony is going to be death, and it's going to be most likely beheading through guillotine. And so, but that's a very small price to pay. I mean, Jesus and God, they created everything. They loved us. Jesus came down here and died for us, the most brutal death, 39 lashes. I just realized the other day, why did he get 39 instead of 40? Because 40 was known to kill a man. So they didn't want to kill him. They wanted him to suffer. So they nailed him to the cross. They put the crowns on his head. He cried out for something to drink, and they gave him a sip of vinegar. So, I mean, and the two thieves next to him was like, Lord, and he said, well, I have a place for you. And it's like, that's what he's saying today. He's saying that, like, the religious people are the lost ones, the ones that are in church. Not all of them. I'm just saying the real religious, strict, rigid, that think they're right, the righteous, that think, oh, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to church, and, and I'm tithing, and I'm Mr. Goody Two Shoes. That's the ones that are really lost. The ones that are like in the streets crying out, Lord, I'm a sinner, and I'm hurting, and I know I'm so bad, and I know whatever I do ain't worthy of you. That's the ones closer to heaven right there. That's what God said. And so, and right now we're having the wheat grow up with the tares, and he says, don't pull out the wheat or don't pull out the tares unless you pull out the wheat, uproot the wheat too. He says, in a time, he'll separate them at the harvest. Well, we're coming up on the harvest, and I mean, this world's going to get a lot more evil. Like you said, in the days of tribulation, it's going to be the worst that mankind's ever known, and it's going to be like so horrible it won't even, you can't even describe it. So, I mean, the plagues, the things that are coming, and the people that sell their soul to the devil and take that mark of the beast, the plagues that they're going to get, and the sores and the moaning and the groaning, but it's going to be too late. So that's why I say that's our important mission as Christians right now in these final hours. And another thing I learned too, in the last days, they were talking about the last days 2,000 years ago, because one day is 1,000 years. So those were the beginning of the last days. Well, we're in the last of the last days now. That's where we're at now. We're in the last, coming up on the last final 7 years, because God created the earth and the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day He rested. Well, one day is 1,000 years. Well, we're coming up on 6,000 years, so God's going to rest. That's going to be the millennial kingdom, or the reign of Jesus Christ and His saints on this earth, where the lion lays down with the lamb, and everything's going to go back into perfect harmony. That's what we really have to look forward to as Christians. And there's going to be no more sickness or death. And then after that 1,000 years, Satan's going to be loose for a season. And even after people experience that 1,000 years of greatness with God, almost back to the Garden of Eden, the paradise, there's going to be some that turn back to Satan. And then after that small period, that small season, God's going to close it all off, and Satan will be no more, and he'll be chained forever and ever and ever, and all the people will be in hell, and it'll be gnashing and gnawing of the teeth, and they'll be sealed away, and we'll have a new heaven and a new earth. And I've even heard that when they say new heaven and new earth, it means the same earth and the same heaven, but it'll be like a refreshed new. So, I mean, we have a lot to look forward to as Christians: eternity with God and Jesus Christ. And like I said, if you got to get beheaded, well, we only live down here 70, 80 years if we're lucky. And probably like the 70 to 80 ain't that great because we got all these health problems. Well, if we get beheaded uh, and we go with God and then we experience all the good things, what difference does it make? What I'm saying is this life is so short anyway. So, and if you take the mark, what are you gaining? What, 3 years of slavery to a satanic system to carry on and then to face eternal punishment? So I'm saying really look and think hard before, about this mark. And that's what I got to keep preaching about because it's not far off. And